Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we begin this video, don't forget to give it a like. It truly encourages us to keep sharing beneficial content, inshallah. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our future videos on faith, spirituality, and Islamic reminders. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah bless you and enjoy the video. Often in life, when feelings for someone linger deeply, it becomes difficult to understand whether what we are experiencing is mere emotional attachment or a true sign from Allah guiding us not to move on. This distinction is crucial because our hearts can deceive us, blending desire, hope, and pain into a confusing haze. Yet, when Allah leads the heart, the guidance comes with clarity, peace, and subtle confirmations that differentiate it from mere emotional longing. The key to understanding this lies in recognizing the nature of divine guidance and how it operates within the believer's life. Emotional attachment is frequently born out of habit, memories, and unresolved feelings. It clings to the past, often replaying moments of joy or regret, which can keep a person trapped in a cycle of pain or false hope. This attachment is self-driven, fueled by our own desires and fears, and rarely brings lasting peace. Instead, it may lead to restlessness, anxiety, and a sense of emptiness. The heart in this state often cries out for resolution, closure, or rekindling, but it remains uncertain because the foundation is unstable and not rooted in divine wisdom. In contrast, divine guidance from Allah transcends the personal whims of the heart. It is a light that gently but firmly directs the believer's path, often in ways that may initially be difficult to understand or accept. When Allah is leading, there is an underlying calmness even amidst confusion, a certainty that this waiting or holding on is purposeful. The believer senses that their patience is not wasted, but part of a greater plan, and this trust in Allah's wisdom produces a peace that emotional attachment cannot replicate. The Quran reminds us that Allah's plans are perfect, and that He is the best of planners. When Allah keeps someone in your heart, it is not random or coincidental. It is a part of His divine decree. This decree is often accompanied by signs and subtle confirmations that speak to the soul in quiet ways. These signs might come through dreams, repeated reminders during prayer, or an inner feeling that persists despite the external silence. They serve as a reassurance that what the heart holds is more than just a memory. It is a divine trust placed in you. Moreover, Allah tests the believers with patience and perseverance. The very act of holding on to someone with the hope that aligns with Allah's will is itself a spiritual trial. The believer learns to differentiate between the impulses of the nafs, egos or self, and the still, quiet voice of the heart connected to Allah. This spiritual sensitivity grows through consistent worship, reflection, and reliance on the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. When the heart is trained to listen to Allah's guidance, it gains clarity and wisdom that surpass mere human emotion. It is important to recognize that divine guidance is never oppressive or harmful. If holding on to someone causes constant pain, despair, or sin, then it may be a sign that the attachment is not from Allah but from the ego. Allah's guidance brings tranquility, even if it includes the pain of waiting or uncertainty. The peace in the heart becomes the sign that one is on the right path. This peace is a mercy from Allah and a confirmation that He is leading the believer according to what is best for their soul. The story of the Prophet Muhammad and Khadija, R.A., beautifully illustrates divine guidance in love and relationships. The Prophet was patient and deeply connected to Allah before and after their union. Their marriage was marked not only by love, but by faith and divine purpose.
This teaches believers that when Allah approves a connection, it is built on spiritual foundation and patience, not just fleeting emotions. In addition, the Quran provides verses that comfort the believer who struggles to move on because Allah is shaping their destiny with wisdom beyond their understanding. For example, in Surah At-Tawbah 9:51, Allah says, "Say, never will we be struck except by what Allah has decreed for us. He is our protector, and upon Allah let the believers rely." This verse reminds believers that every moment, every feeling, and every delay is by Allah's perfect will and protection. In practical terms, recognizing Allah's guidance involves reflection and seeking knowledge. It requires turning to prayer, asking Allah to clarify the heart, and to provide signs that distinguish divine will from personal desire. It also means observing the effects of holding on. Does it bring spiritual growth or decline? Does it inspire trust in Allah or despair? These questions help believers assess their feelings honestly. Finally, when Allah leads someone not to move on from a person, it is a sacred responsibility. The heart becomes a keeper of a trust that may unfold in this life or the next. It is an opportunity for the believer to grow in patience, reliance, and faith, knowing that Allah's timing and wisdom are beyond human comprehension. This divine guidance transforms the waiting into a form of worship and a deep connection with Allah's plan. In summary, the difference between emotional attachment and Allah's guidance lies in peace, clarity, and trust. Emotional attachment is often noisy, restless, and self-centered, while divine guidance is quiet, assured, and rooted in faith. When Allah leads you not to move on, it is because He has placed something valuable in your heart, a trust, a test, and a hope that only He can fulfill. The believer's role is to seek Allah's signs, hold on to patience, and embrace the peace that comes from knowing Allah's plan is perfect and merciful. When Allah guides your heart not to move on from someone, He often does so through clear and subtle spiritual signs that confirm His divine plan. These signs act as gentle reminders and reassurance, reinforcing that the bond you feel is part of a greater wisdom beyond immediate understanding. Recognizing these signs requires a sensitive heart, sincere faith, and awareness that Allah communicates with His servants in many profound ways. This section will explore some of these key spiritual signs that indicate Allah wants you to keep this person in your life, at least for now. One of the most powerful signs is the presence of recurring dreams about that person. In Islam, dreams hold special significance, especially those that bring comfort or guidance. When Allah repeatedly places someone in your dreams, it is a form of divine communication. These dreams often come with a feeling of peace and clarity rather than confusion or fear. They may carry symbolic messages or show moments of togetherness that reinforce hope and trust. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The true dreams are part of the 46 parts of prophecy, making them a significant way Allah interacts with believers." Thus, if your dreams consistently include this person, it could be a sign that Allah is keeping their connection alive in your heart for a purpose. Another sign comes during moments of prayer and dua. When you make sincere supplications for someone and feel an unexpected sense of peace or assurance in your heart, it is a sign that Allah is responding, even if the answer is not immediate or visible. This feeling of spiritual calmness during or after dua is a subtle confirmation that your prayers are being heard. The connection in your heart becomes a source of spiritual strength rather than just longing. Often, Allah's responses are veiled in wisdom, protecting us from what might be harmful if revealed too soon. This hidden mercy means that your continued hope for this person is not in vain, but part of Allah's greater plan. The appearance of consistent reminders in your daily life can also be a sign. This might be through hearing their name, seeing something that reminds you of them, or encountering verses from the Quran or sayings of the Prophet that speak directly to your situation. These repeated signs, especially when they bring comfort or inspire reflection, serve as divine nudges. Allah uses these reminders to keep the connection alive in your heart and encourage you to maintain faith and patience. Such moments are rarely coincidences. They are intentional spiritual prompts meant to guide and reassure you. Moreover, the inner feeling of peace, despite outward difficulties, is a profound sign. When everything around you suggests that you should let go or move on, but your heart remains calm and certain, it is a reflection of Allah's tranquility within you. This peace is different from ignorance or denial. It is a deep spiritual conviction that what you are experiencing is part of Allah's decree. The Prophet taught that true faith brings peace in the heart, even in hardship. If your heart remains serene while holding on to this person, it indicates that Allah is sustaining you with His mercy and keeping the door open for what He wills. Importantly, these signs often come alongside tests of patience and trust. Allah's guidance is not always easy to recognize because it challenges our immediate desires. The waiting period, uncertainty, and distance can feel like trials. However, the presence of these signs during such times confirms that you are on the right path. Allah is testing your sincerity, resilience, and reliance on Him. Your steadfastness in this trial, supported by the spiritual signs, leads to spiritual growth and closeness to Allah. The story of Prophet Yusuf, Joseph, is a powerful example of patience combined with divine signs. He endured separation and hardship, but was repeatedly reminded by Allah through dreams and divine wisdom that his reunion with his family was destined. This story teaches us that even prolonged waiting can be part of Allah's perfect timing, and spiritual signs serve as beacons of hope and guidance. Recognizing these signs also requires humility and self-awareness. It's easy to mistake hope for denial or wishful thinking for divine indication. To avoid this, one must constantly seek Allah's guidance through prayer, reflection, and consultation with wise, knowledgeable people. The spiritual vigilance helps discern between the whispers of the nafs, ego, and the clear signals from Allah. When the signs bring peace, hope, and a feeling of closeness to Allah, they are likely divine. When they bring anxiety, confusion, or despair, they require careful re-examination. Another sign can be the way your heart aligns with the broader principles of Islam when holding on to this person. If your attachment motivates you to become a better believer, to increase in worship, patience, and good character, this reflects Allah's blessing on the connection. Conversely, if the attachment leads you away from your faith, it may be a warning to reassess. Allah's signs come with spiritual benefit, not harm. Finally, it is crucial to remember that Allah's wisdom is beyond human comprehension. Sometimes signs are subtle or delayed, and the absence of obvious signals does not mean rejection. Allah's timing and ways are perfect, and trust in His plan is essential. Maintaining hope while seeking clarity through dua and sincere repentance keeps the heart open to whatever path Allah wills. In conclusion, when Allah leads you not to move on from someone, He surrounds this guidance with spiritual signs like recurring dreams, peace in prayer, repeated reminders, and inner tranquility. These signs are blessings and tests, designed to strengthen your faith and prepare you for what Allah has decreed. By recognizing and honoring these signs with patience and trust, you align yourself with Allah's perfect plan, knowing that His wisdom far exceeds human understanding. Trusting Allah's timing while holding on to someone can be one of the greatest tests of faith. It requires a delicate balance between patience and action, between hope and wisdom. Many believers struggle with this, wondering if they are simply stuck in the past, or if Allah truly wants them to wait. Understanding this balance is essential to avoid stagnation and to ensure spiritual growth while keeping the heart open to Allah's plan. Patience in Islam is not passive waiting. It is an active, conscious state of trust and perseverance. Allah commands believers to be patient in many verses of the Quran, showing that patience is a virtue directly linked to success and reward. However, patience does not mean you remain motionless or allow yourself to be trapped in unhealthy attachment. Rather, it means continuing to move forward in life, growing, improving, and submitting to Allah's will, while trusting that the outcome you desire will come at the right time. Sometimes, believers confuse patience with stagnation. They stay emotionally or spiritually stuck, waiting indefinitely for something or someone without taking steps toward personal development or healing. This is not what Allah asks. The Prophet Muhammad himself was a man of action who trusted Allah's plan but also took deliberate steps in his life and mission. Likewise, believers are encouraged to keep growing spiritually, emotionally, and socially while waiting on Allah's timing. Trusting Allah's timing means acknowledging that He alone knows the perfect moment to bring two people together or to close a door. Life's delays, setbacks, and unanswered prayers are not necessarily signs of rejection. Instead, they may be part of a divine process that prepares both hearts for a better outcome. Allah's wisdom surpasses human understanding. What seems like delay or disappointment might actually be protection from harm or a test of faith. This understanding helps believers avoid despair or frustration. Instead of forcing things to happen or rushing decisions, they learn to surrender and align their desires with Allah's greater plan. They pray for guidance, seek knowledge, and remain open to signs while maintaining healthy boundaries and emotional well-being. A powerful reminder comes from the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah 216. But perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you, and Allah knows while you know not. This verse encourages believers to trust that what Allah decrees is ultimately best, even if the heart struggles to understand at first. Furthermore, patience and trust during waiting periods build resilience and deepen faith. These qualities prepare the believer not only for the outcome, but for the personal growth necessary to sustain the relationship or blessing once it arrives. Waiting is transformed from a passive experience into an active form of worship, an expression of reliance on Allah's mercy and wisdom. In summary, trusting Allah's timing while holding on to someone means balancing hope with wisdom, patience with progress. It requires continuing personal growth, avoiding spiritual stagnation, and surrendering fully to Allah's perfect plan. By embracing this balance, believers can navigate the waiting period with peace and faith, confident that Allah is working behind the scenes for their highest good. Sometimes, even when everything around you suggests that the relationship is over, your heart continues to hold on and pray for that person. This deep, persistent longing can be confusing and painful, leaving you wondering why your feelings won't simply fade away. In such moments, it's important to understand that Allah's wisdom often transcends human logic, and that sometimes He places someone in your heart not for now, but for a future moment when both souls will be ready. This ongoing prayer and hope are signs of a sacred trust placed by Allah in your heart. It means that your connection with this person is more than a passing feeling. It is part of a divine plan that requires patience, growth, and preparation. Sometimes, the waiting period is necessary for healing wounds, building strength, and purifying both hearts from past hurt or distractions. Allah's timing is perfect, and He knows when the right moment for reunion or closure will come. When your heart continues to pray for someone despite the apparent end, It is a reminder to maintain spiritual focus. Turning to Allah with sincere dua, asking Him for guidance, clarity, and peace is essential. These prayers help align your heart with Allah's will and provide comfort amid uncertainty. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that dua is a powerful form of worship and that Allah answers every sincere prayer, though the answer may come in different forms or timing. During this period, it's natural to feel moments of doubt, sadness, or confusion. However, rather than allowing these emotions to overwhelm you, use them as opportunities to deepen your connection with Allah. Reflect on His promises in the Quran, such as in Surah Ash-Shar 94:5-6. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. Indeed, with hardship will be ease. This reassurance reminds believers that pain and waiting are temporary and that relief and blessings will follow. Sometimes, the reason your heart won't let go is because Allah is preparing you for a future mission or blessing that involves this person. It could be a relationship, partnership, or purpose that requires both of you to be spiritually, emotionally, and mentally ready. Until that time comes, holding on in prayer and trust is part of fulfilling your role in Allah's divine plan. In addition, it is important to take care of yourself during this waiting time. Engage in acts of worship, surround yourself with supportive people, and continue personal growth. This not only strengthens your faith, but also ensures that when the moment arrives, you are ready to embrace whatever Allah has destined for you. Ultimately, when your heart refuses to let go, it is a sacred space where hope and trust in Allah coexist. It teaches patience, reliance, and humility. Even if the reunion does not happen in this life, the love and prayers you hold are not wasted. They are recorded and rewarded by Allah, and they shape you into a stronger believer. In conclusion, when everything seems over but your heart continues to pray for someone, it is a sign of Allah's deeper wisdom and mercy. Embrace this time as a spiritual journey, one of growth, trust, and hopeful anticipation. Continue to pray, seek Allah's guidance, and nurture your soul, knowing that Allah's plan is perfect and His timing is the best. Your patience and faith will be rewarded, in this life or the hereafter. May Allah bless you and guide you to a life filled with mercy, love, and tranquility.